Live at the Hive.
Hello and welcome to Live at the Hive. We have two awesome bands gracing our stage tonight, and I hope everyone has been enjoying their Saturday. Our Saturday is about to get a lot groovier for everyone tuning in and here live. We have Braided Waves and Tim and Andreae. I think I said that wrong. Tim and Andrea gracing our stage, and we're going to start off with Braided Waves.
Hey guys. Arigato.
Yay! Kids up front. Woo! You guys warmed up? No.
Louder than I thought it would be, sorry.
Don't be afraid to dance, too. Sorry, Otis. Sorry.
It's alright.
My senses see from above. Somehow deep in my heart, I look to know you makes me lose control. I stare at the moon. What makes me lose control? Even though I knew it was wrong, I followed my eye into a fire. And what brings relief without getting high? Sensitivities to touching, to feel right. Thanks for being here. Nice time. I've tried to escape the fate I decided to play with the charge. Try to figure what's been started. My heart, I heal as I feel you making room for the stars. Only pastime for you right now to make it real while we relax into a beauty of accepting what we are for you right now as you hide the eye of the storm. Follow the sound the sea will make until the day your body is found. It's last season as the dream reaches your hands, reaching out hands, holding the reason for my plan, like a new wave that has been made. Like years ago,
foothills before they have too many houses.
But I'm so inside of all the heartbeat seeds our song grow into our brains. Things unfold, things unfold. I'm listening for Kyle. As I see a sunrise round your head, sounds you said you heard a pack of cryo. Want it so bad, but is it in our hands to understand? That I like on always like me. Tied the strings, baby. Please tell me what you need. Please tell me what you need. Arigato. Snow falling down in 1989. I was 6 years old as we walked the dogs down an empty north end night. The street lights were all tinted amber back then. With my parents for distraction in a life of distraction. Nearly in bed, keep us all dependent. Thank you. We have one more, and then the beautiful Tim Andreae is going to play. I hope if you're tuning in out there in the world at home, you're enjoying it. We got good speakers. Everyone here sees there's something wrong with me, something I can't see. Everyone here sees there's something wrong with me, something I can't be. Unspoiled melody, like the river, one with the sea. Unspoiled melody, like the river's the river, one with the sea. Unspoken melody, cry me a river, how long shall I cry to see?
Thank you. Have a great, safe life.
Fall One of the things that I had trouble with when I was growing up in Boise was finding musical resources and finding places to feel like I could express that and develop in that way.
Having a Musicians Resource Center in Boise has been a unique type of environment.
It's a very relaxed, amazing resource. I just kind of fell in love with it. It offers so much and so little people know about it.
My first impression of the Hive was this seems like a pretty cool open space. There's a band jamming and they were playing and I was coming to talk about volunteering.
Hey guys, we're Illicit Nature. We're here to start a riot or something.
When I was trying to find a band and some people to play with, and well, I showed up to the Hive and well, now I'm in a band.
There's a better community here. A lot of different bands and a lot of people who are starting music, but then also a lot of people who've done music for a long time, and we all like seem to get together even though we have such differences, and it works out really good.
I know I've talked to multiple people in multiple bands that have said that having a low-cost space to be able to practice and be able to rehearse their sets and even just meet people and try stuff out has been really valuable for them.
That's part of the culture of the Hive. It's just a really positive experience of mentorship and collaboration.
There's a lot of kids that are like in high school that can't come to some of our shows in downtown because everything's 21 plus.
It's like an all ages sober environment no matter like what day of the week it is or like how late it is.
People are really excited to have an opportunity to show what they've worked on and what they're accomplishing, and there's a lot of original music.
The Hive is ran on volunteers and donations, and I feel like everybody has the ability to give one of those. You have time, you have resources, even old equipment, it'll get used in some way. I feel like everybody, if they really knew what this place did, they'd want to help out more.
It's incredibly important to have things like this and to give musicians, especially young musicians, access to things like this so they can feel like there is something there for them.
Well, give me a reason to stay, that's what she said as she slowly walked away. If I could, oh you know I would give it all away. Only in words, only in words, only in words. You're just a Casanova with narcissistic traits, and you can't help me. Oh, I wish that I could be the things that you see, the things you want in your dreams. But I can't and I won't, because you won't communicate with me. Well, give me a reason to stay, that's what she said as she slowly walked away. If I could, oh you know I would give it all away. Only in words, only in words, only in words. Maybe it's the booze, maybe it's the drugs, maybe it's the vices I keep in my life to this day. Maybe it's the way I said your name, maybe it's the way I never came, maybe it's the things I could have been, maybe it's all everything, top of our lungs. Around the bottle, knowing glances, everything we've ever done, from suicide attempts to bad birthday. That Yamaha you had the sound of your first drum. Let's drink, roll coast, no greed, no God, no hope. Burdened hands cover me. We rise, we bleed. We got everything we need. Still got holes, got sound to beat. Let's address that elephant that follows me to every fucking room. Surround the grace in hot silhouettes. God's a semi-dark. We rise and close in the graceful spot. I want you to know that your worries are my worries too. Let's drink to old coast. No greed, no God, no hope. Burdened hands cover me. We rise, we bleed. We got everything we need. Still got holes, got self to beat. Well, I've come to terms with mine. There'll be things I've never seen. There'll be story arcs I wrote in my mind. I threw out before the first scene. Drunk and sing how to clean everything, top of our lungs. Pass around the bottle, knowing glances and everything we've ever done.
You had every right to ask me if I'm available emotionally. I didn't know how to answer then, but I hope someday you'll ask me again. I've been taking some time. I know you've got questions for me, but I'm not ready to define how I feel. But I'm learning to be angry finally, and turns out I'm not fine. Turns out I need more time, so I've been taking some time. I've been taking some time. And the best I felt all summer was out alone on the water, drifting through the lily pads. No one around not ready to define how I feel, but I'm learning to be angry finally. Yeah, turns out I'm not fine. Turns out I need more time, so I've been taking some time. I've been taking some time. I've been passing my time, staying up late, drifting off outside, waking up underneath the stars. My first thought is, I wonder where you are. I've been taking some time. I know you've got questions for me, but I'm not ready to define how I feel, but I'm learning to be angry finally. Yeah, turns out I'm not fine. Turns out I need more time, so I've been taking some time. I've been taking some time.
It was really awesome set to get to watch and listen to. I haven't gotten to hear you guys before, so it was really great to hear like your groovy sound and some of the stuff you had that was very upbeat and just had a lot of people dancing, so it was great to watch. So some of the first questions I have here are, who inspired you guys for the first time to start doing music, singing or picking up your instruments?
For me, it was Built to Spill. Just seeing what Built to Spill could do with, I don't know, sort of self-help. It was just such a self-help thing, and I thought about maybe I could write similar words, I guess, sort of in a way that could complement how that music would make me feel better, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So you felt like Built to Spill helped you kind of process some of the things that he was talking about?
Yeah, I guess Built to Spill made me feel like I had something to do writing music that could better my life, the spiritual life. I don't know about that.
I would say just who inspired me to play music be my dad, and he played guitar, and I don't know, I just wanted to. Friends played. That's my answer.
For me, I guess I grew up playing like around music. Both of my parents are musicians and in bands, and it's very dark now. It's light. So there was always something around, somebody playing music around me when I was a kid. Always something to pick up and mess with and fiddle with. And in fact, I think that the first drum set I learned to play on is the one that's at the Hive now. It's right over there. My mom donated it. So yeah, I think that for me, like, just having music a part of everyone's life and their family is something that, like, you know, is sort of a necessity maybe that people don't realize. Like, you don't have to be a famous rock star to incorporate it into your being, and to help you process emotions or have fun or just use your spare time in a way that gets anxiety out, and to speak your truth. And, you know, so I feel really fortunate to have grown up around that just being a normal pastime and not some big deal that you have to go learn how to do. So yeah, I just think it's always there.
Thank you guys. Those are really good answers, and it ties totally hand in hand with what we're trying to do here at the Hive, which is joining mental health and music. And it sounds like for all of you, it's been a really big piece of processing some emotional and mental things and putting that right into your music. On one of your songs, you guys were kind of talking about Boise's growth, and I was just curious, what are your thoughts on Boise's growth, both in regards to our changing surroundings, but also what it means for our music scene?
I like that there's more options as the music scene grows. You know, there's more places and different people that we can have community with than just a tiny little town. Driving sucks in Boise. I miss living in the North End. I grew up in the North End, and there's no way I could ever afford to live there again. But I drive there to walk, because it's hard to walk up on the bench without any sidewalks and all the busy streets. But yeah, I love that there's more options with the growth.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of, speaking of emotions and stuff, there's a lot of grief and processing and sadness that goes along with it. I think that like history and nostalgia is like a huge part of who we are. Like it's hard for me to be like, well, I'll never see the elementary school I grew up in again. It's torn down, and my old house is now a bunch of condos. Like things like that feel really hard to process, you know, and process that grief. A lot of spaces that used to be sort of free and accessible are now fenced off. It's really hard to find a place to live that's affordable, which is really hard on a lot of people's mental health. But, you know, I think that there's room for everyone. There's just maybe a way to do it more responsibly to make sure that people are taken care of. That being said, like, I think that as growing up here as a teenager playing music, there was a lot of house shows. There was a lot of really underground, crazy, wild things we would do that you couldn't get away with anymore at all. So there's not really anywhere to go. There's just bars, you know, and that's really hard. So I think the Hive is really important for that, because I would have been all over this, you know, when I was a teenager, instead of partying at random houses until the cops shut us down, which was fun too. But, you know, so it's bittersweet. There's always a trade-off, you know, but it's nice to see more interesting art and culture and stuff pop up, maybe as part of that grieving and processing, people doing that, but also just new people showing up that are interesting. So, yeah, it's growing pains.
Thank you. I completely relate with going somewhere familiar, and then if it's not there anymore, that feels very, very tough. What do you think is unique to Boise, Idaho? It sounds like you guys have all been here your whole lives. Is that right? Yeah? What do you think is unique about Boise's sound or Idaho's sound? No?
I don't have an answer to that.
Okay.
Unique. Go ahead.
I guess there's a sort of family feel to it, like we were talking about with the house shows and like people knowing each other growing up here, and there's like and Built-to-Spill's connected to that, you know, like we all know each other. Like I grew up around Built-to-Spill, and Doug's our friend. My dad was in the band. Like that sort of indie scene that was connected to the Northwest, you know, a lot of those bands that got really famous and stuff, it was all sort of underground Northwest stuff in the beginning, and that's really cool. But I guess something unique about Boise would just be, yeah, how much it feels like a family, the music scene, you know, and that's changing a little too, but just kind of feels really like people getting their stuff out together. I don't know.
So with you guys being from the area, have you guys known each other for many, many years? How did you guys meet and form your band?
I used to live across the street from Ben, and he was playing some finger picking stuff on his guitar. And I also just always admired his style as a person. I kind of admired both of these people before I knew them, like I knew of them. And now we are friends, and all my illusions are shattered.
We're not so cool anymore.
They're cooler in many ways, but you know how projections can be. Yeah, it's a therapeutic thing for me to get to see them once a week and play our songs, and it's nice because we're all family folks, and most of the time we're just with our families, or at least for me, like it's just family, you know. And then I got the one night a week that I get to count on being all about me, sorta. Yeah.
I just remember going to house shows before I knew you guys and seeing you both play. Like, I think you first at the 208 house with How's Your Family, and it was rocking. It was really good. And you and Knots, before I knew you, was very rocking as well.
Yeah, I can just echo what Ben said. I think that the house show scene, and it goes along with what we were talking about before, the house show scene in Boise in the early 2000s was really amazing. So, and it was all North End houses, you know, we all lived there, and it was unique and weird in that neighborhood. And so yeah, going to Grandma's house. We both of us lived at Grandma's house. So did Clark from Clark and the Himselves. Like, so many musicians lived at that house, and I think that's where we first started hanging out. And I remember Smut House, like you hung out with those guys. So it was just like interweaving circles. And so, yeah, I guess music brought us all together probably. Yeah.
You say interweaving circles. That kind of leads me to the next question of how you guys came up with your band name.
A couple former band members came up with it, and I had to ask them if I could still use it, and they said, I don't know. We came up with it. It took a long time. But yeah, I like to think of the sea waves, but also the waves in the sound waves. And then braiding.
Bringing those sounds together.
Yeah.
No comment. Do you guys feel that your sound is unique, or is there any bands that you feel like you try to emulate or use as an example or guiding light for where you want to be sounding?
That's a great question, because I know that there is. Like, I'm a big fan of a band called Tropical Fuckstorm. I don't know if I can say that on the YouTube, but I did. And just I don't think that I could end up sounding like him or like they do. But they put a lot of, like, just the most revealing things. I guess, every band that moves me, I kind of want to correspond with through what I play, I guess. If there was one, I would be leaving too many out. You guys have any?
For what we sound like, I don't know. I think we sound kind of. I think we sound fairly. There, I don't know of other groups that sound like us.
I try to just play how I'm feeling, but I think there's probably lots of influences in there. Some folk ones, some punk ones, some indie ones. Like, I don't know. I guess maybe the sound reminds me a lot of, like, the really cool underground stuff in the 90s. You know? Maybe like Pixies or something like that. I don't know. I want the audience to decide. I just try to play what feels and sounds good.
Yeah. I want to put one more thought into it. You write the song. I like to have the idea that it's pretty nonfiction, the stuff that we're doing. And for me, the words and stuff is kind of the base for what I'm up to with the playing and stuff. So it's kind of like one's journal. Like, you know, everybody's journaling is probably pretty unique, but probably pretty similar to other people's too. We're just doing our best to feel it out, you know.
I'm going to scoop into that a little bit here and ask you about some specific lyrics from a song that was moving me. Listening to you sing about you wanted to live another life than the one you had. You wanted me to cry a river, how long until I cry an ocean. What are your thoughts and feelings versus when you wrote that to now that you've written it and performed it and coped with it?
Thanks. That's nice that you remembered the words. It's actually about a dream that I had about my mom who passed away when I was 14. I used to have dreams, reoccurring dreams that that she never passed on. So she moved to a different town and just played it like she had died. And so it's basically a song about that reoccurring dream. And it's interesting, since I wrote the song and have been singing it, the changes that have happened is I don't have that dream anymore, which I also kind of miss. It's very interesting, I think. The things that we let outside can really influence our internal life. And it makes me want to be more careful about what I write about too, because you don't want to kill the dream. You know, I want to respect it. But
maybe some things you do want out.
Yeah. So that song in particular, it was one of the first songs I wrote after a real dry spell, and it was nice to be having written something new, because I woke up in the morning after having one of these reoccurring dreams, and it came out and it was there, and maybe that was sort of a goodbye to the reoccurring dream, which is kind of funny because the whole song is about a reoccurring dream that stopped, you know. So
Thank you so much for sharing. I felt like that song was very moving, and I really enjoyed listening to it. What advice would you? Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, it's cool to hear you say that it's a reoccurring dream. Give this to you. Oh, just touching on that song. It's cool to hear. I don't know if I heard that full story before. I just kind of thought I knew what you were talking about from the words, which I was pretty close. But because the song is very reoccurring, it's very cyclical. The entire song is like a reoccurring thing. And it feels good for me to do that, to get in that, like, it's like a meditation, like a mantra, kind of.
What advice would you guys have for young bands that are looking to maybe do some of the similar things that you guys are doing with processing the things that they're going through, putting that into music? Maybe they have some experience playing music, but they don't know how to get a music family the way that you guys feel like you've always kind of seen and had in the area.
I say just keep putting yourself out there. Like just don't be afraid to sound like crap, because that's what's going to make you sound better. And, that you don't have to be a good singer to sound good. You have to be confident and really just say what you feel. So be honest, I think. Be really honest about what you're doing and how it feels for you, and don't hold back on that. And to just keep putting yourself out there, don't wait for a paying gig or a show at a bar or a manager or something like that. Just play. If you just play, people will hear it, and you'll meet people that way. Just keep doing it unapologetically.
So speaking on that, with performing tonight, for example, how did it feel performing tonight with a group here and knowing that you're performing live online as well? Does it feel, have you been able to perform live with a lot of people in-house lately, or has that something that's been kind of on hiatus over the past couple of years? For you guys?
You want this one?
How many have we played? Like 4, 5 shows since we started back in April. We started playing together in April.
Oh, that's right. We've only done like.
We haven't played that many.
Yeah. So they've been, and they haven't been, I don't know, good enough crowds. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's been going good though. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
When it got canceled?
No, it was just
Low attendance for our set.
or just chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're Ben
I've got one last question for you guys, and I just want to bring it back to some of the things that we try to really promote and talk about here at the Hive, and that's what's your guys' experience with addiction and or sobriety, and what would you say to others feeling like they're trying to get their fix or kicks?
The higher power, if you can let yourself, for me personally with addiction, when I have been able to make some space for a higher power of sorts to step into my behavior, if you can open yourself up to that, that's what I would say to do. I have some dear people in my life who have had better luck without the higher, doing a higher power thing. But I'm an addict. My name is Otis. I'm an addict.
Oh, I think experience with addiction has been part of my entire life, probably. Parents, friends, everything like that. I say just show up for yourself in whatever way that works for you. If you find something that works and something that feels good, do it as much as you can. It's kind of like when I was pregnant and I was starving and I didn't want to eat like crap. Someone said to me, well, find something healthy that you like right now and just eat as much of it as possible. I think finding a hobby like that, just keep yourself busy and know your self-worth, and just like reach out to people and just try to do stuff that makes you feel capable, and maybe don't think about yourself so much. Do stuff for other people.
Well said, all of you. Thank you so much again for sharing your music and your information with us tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks to Hive. Good to go.
The things that I had trouble with when I was growing up in Boise was finding musical resources and finding places to feel like I could express that and develop in that way.
Having a musician's resource center in Boise has been a unique type of environment.
It's a very relaxed, amazing resource. I just kind of fell in love with it. It offers so much and so little people know about it.
My first impression of the Hive was, this seems like a pretty cool open space. There's a band jamming and they were playing and I was coming to talk about volunteering.
Hey guys, we're Illicit Nature. We're here to start a writing or something.
Well, I was trying to find a band and some people to play with, and I showed up to the Hive and now I'm in a band.
There's a better community here. A lot of different bands and a lot of people who are starting music, but then also a lot of people who've done music for a long time, and we all seem to get together even though we have such differences, and it works out really good.
I know I've talked to multiple people in multiple bands that have said that having a low-cost space to be able to practice and be able to rehearse their sets and even just meet people and try stuff out has been really valuable for them.
That's part of the culture of the Hive. It's just a really positive experience of mentorship and collaboration.
There's a lot of kids that are like in high school that can't come to some of our shows in downtown because everything's 21 plus.
It's like an all ages sober environment, no matter like what day of the week it is or like how late it is.
People are really excited to have an opportunity to show what they've worked on and what they're accomplishing, and there's a lot of original music.
The Hive is ran on volunteers and donations, and I feel like everybody has the ability to give one of those. You have time, you have resources, even old equipment, it'll get used in some way. I feel like everybody, if they really knew what this place did, they'd want to help out more.
It's incredibly important to have things like this and to give musicians, especially young musicians, access to things like this so they can feel like there is something there for them.
I think we got it now, yeah. Hello and thank you again. Welcome if you're just tuning in to Live at the Hive. We have our last set up here, and that's Tim Andreae. Is that correct? Thank you. I'm sorry. I did ask initially and I messed it up, but what's that? Andreae, yes. And thank you for playing for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. A mix, bunch of some old songs, maybe a couple new ones. Get folky here. This first one I wrote long time ago, but it started with something I saw, which was, I guess it's something that happens every once in a while when a group of horses are like all running together, like up against a fence, and this particular horse tried to jump through a Y in the tree, and his hips caught, and I saw the horse there stuck in the tree, like 15 years later. You know, it was like the skin's all stretched, his mouth is open wide. It's quite a sight. So, the song. But it's kind of a long rambling one. And kind of a heavy one to start on. But these are heavy times, right? You know, so let's start with the heavy. But all I can think of is that dead horse caught in the Y of a tree. Open mouth, skin gray and ragged, I could see through to some ribs as I rode by on another horse who didn't seem to notice, though maybe he saw what was there, a broken body left behind by an impulse. Jumped through the Y of a tree, but with hips too wide it opened his mouth. I want to go back to the river was what I kept telling myself, where just as long as the water runs, the rivers work on the bank, and the banks work on the river will never be done. So they keep holding and shaping each other, and the river makes a slow course where I've been caught, stuttered through teeth. Who was she that so captured my wind? Don't you think I know you from the start as what has kept me hanging all this time? And now that you've come and gone on an abalone horse, as I'm about to be released from the hold of these two poles, I am left a moment to philosophize, notice things outside, like the war at hand. If only we could watch them in the ring, give them gloves. Those big boys want to duke it out all the time, in the world in their hands, so they make fists of their hands, thinking they'll live forever in a match. Now that my love is gone, I am counting down from two poles to one trunk, wondering about the evaporation of bodies expiring all the time. How could anything hang between the pores? Which brings me back to that horse. Thanks. Let's see here. Where do I want to do this? Maybe there. Oh, that other one sounded kind of fun. Well, this is a kind of a courting kind of song. Uh-oh. Come on. Sorry about the... I'll just go with what I call Working Maid. Her body and sun fell a leaf from the hair of a maid, hanging laundry dry. Surely her work will be done. What she didn't see was a man behind a tree, creaking open boughs, pretending to be the wind. The wind sang to her as she pinned and seems to seam. By and by will be dry. While deep my roots been growing, will she hurt and look down? Will she follow the sound of roots working underground? She sighed, some work will never be done. Then that man shook his leaves, said, let's not go so deep, let's ride up on shifty plates. I bet forget tectonic, and the maid sighed again, how some trees they will sing with wind, stacking empty plates, never to fill with bacon. Well, if it's bacon you want, then together we must lose our heads. Bow, bow, and be dead. Often we wake as one then, and the angels sing, and they must stay hinge of door, creaking against the floor. I slow to land as honey, so won't you come here to me, and together we shall be that hinge. Bow, 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 be made. Then if we have some dogging, will that work and make, watching paint drying in the sun. Some won't stay dry long, others got pockets to spend, and seats will hang. Thanks. Let's see. BJ here? Hey. Oh, I was gonna ask, like this is streaming out there into the world, going out into, and I was just thinking if there's anyone out there watching on streaming that you want to put your name in the chat, then we can I can say hi. Then make our room a little bit smaller, Bring it back in a little bit. Well, they were going to project the chat. Maybe it's not happening, but somebody will get it. Somebody will get your name, and then they'll bring it to me, maybe. And then I'll say, hey. And then you'll be in our room, too. And this one's called Fleur-De-Celle. Flower of the sea, flower of salt. One time, BJ here told me a dream that made me think about the name, making the name, made me title this song that. You were given, the end of the bowl of popcorn one? Well, when you get down to the bottom of the bowl of popcorn and it's sort of like it's real salty and there's just like you know, like you want to keep going, so you just keep crunching those things. But BJ held out the bowl, and he just said, "It's the bottom." I hope you don't mind if I tell that. This has a little piece in the song. This is a reference to a movie called The Black Hole in the 80s. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but cult classic, Maximilian. At the very end of it, they're on this space station, and they kind of killed all the bad guys, but they're headed into the black hole. There's no stopping it now, so they're just kind of looking at each other like, okay, well, that's how it ends. They're like, here we go.
I haven't seen it, now you just
Hey, night, walk on the floor, take the shape that you had before, a ladder of light on twisting ears, the blinds and the spider plant pressed into time, shadows move me all over again. I lean hard against the starter key and found myself stalled over you, but not long enough to turn up my shuddering soul and buckled into suscitation drove away, paying the dark its steepening toll. Hey, dark, come to me. I'm ready now, but no need to run. Walk me here as you come. Off all my pieces as they fall with yours. We'll hallelujah inside of our ears. You know that movie where they go down the black hole and turning to each other, bashful before the event horizon, facing touchstone of all memory. Aren't we all drawn to engage such density? not what you see. I'm making my measuring stick a stone in a stream. When the butterflies go rock to rock, it seems happenstance, but it's not. Everything that lives beats this weight into wings. A rock bound to you, my heart unfurls. From that timeless port I set sail. From the center of a black hole I set sail. We are what's on the other side. We are what's on the other side. Thanks. Well, here's another one that kind of has a movie sort of inspiration in it. This one is from that movie Cave of Forgotten Dreams. You know that one where they, Werner Herzog, where they go down in the cave. It's all the prehistoric drawings on the walls. It's like 35,000 years old, and there's a big entry, sort of big cavernous part of it with a giant rock that's probably like 20 feet high, giant boulder in the middle of it. It had all these red palm prints, the same palm print, like all over, covering the whole rock. And I don't know, that image kind of stuck with me. It's called The Palm at Chauvet. The message, it creeps till it falls out my eyes, and my vision is soft with a tender side. And I know the wind that split us so long ago, and I'm ready to go to that place where the rock, dotted red by a palm, some 35,000 years ago, could heal the likes of you and me. I don't know how, but I know. It's a strange optimism that wells up from below, because it must make itself known, has at its source that one who's not long for this world. That one who's carried on a stretcher, though he's stiff as a board. Pull back the cloth, his face, like a moth toward a flame, is out of his control, and his pupils souls are stung with light, it's freezing cold. And if he touches you with his swirling nails, you'll know his cramp is set with grief, and that grief is gold. If only he could let it go. It's a breath he's breathing that never wanted to be breathed, a wind driven against itself that will never resolve, but that could slow as we slow. Come close, will you come close? Even fumbling the drink, still not move, pointing to the spill. Hold us steady in, hold us steady in. So the palm prints in the cave showed an open hand, and whatever broke has revealed its ends, saying, look here, these are the tips of thread you may pull, and come closer to our ancient womb, and not letting uncertainty drag us around, but staying here, our hands on a line to where we don't know what we've snagged could bloom, as what was so fearful and in charge steps down. On a kind of movie trip here. So this one I wrote at the start of the pandemic. It was kind of, I hadn't written songs for a while, and it's sort of like a little get you going, writing again kind of song, and but it's kind of a whale song. I think of it like a whale song. I'm not gonna tell you the movie. Think about the movie. But have you ever seen Blackfish? I took some new sleep against a twilight fence on the same worrisome hill I've been bending my late night body to fit. Fits and streams, I remember a dream, I remember a desperate spring when Jesse James trains getting highwayed all the time, and I'm standing there just yearning to be unloaded. It was the second pencil I grabbed, the one that had lead. I am being my painstaking self with a charge to stay with what's just beyond my grasp. The slow sled is on, and it's so much too slow for my fast-trained mind. It makes me cry when I give up keeping up this breakneck pace. But imagine how they must have cried from car to car, riding the ticker tape of that fast-moving floor, the woolly breeze breezing in, six-shooters raised and singing. You got too much heart raised up in your gold, and your half-made plans and your secret billfold that a prize you want to hold up to make up for the deficit you were born in. My name's Jesse James, put your hearts down now. Your weapons I recognize as the fast side of the slow valley from which I come. Allow me to doctor your purses without bounds. I'll remind them how thing with an end can sound and bring these big spring days to echo. What else to do among the popping blue hands, the skittery clicking of exoskeletons? Take a dime, buy the news, join Jesse James and his crew are getting taken. Get taken along with the other bags of stolen things, with pocket watch, comb, parchment, gold ring, half-read romance. I am of the people who sleep to our own stories. Against these unsettled shores we blindly cast, holding at bay what comes with waking. And yet there are movements gone under the rug, impulses in a lamp come to flesh through love and carried back to these great glistening bodies. Thanks. Let's, well, you're soft and so sloped down, and so my breath from reason to unreasonable will swing the tune. You must forget to catch whisper in my ear till your breath dies. Dancing horse against my eardrum, bum 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 will live again. Icicles sharpening by the drop, the flowers all the way to the ground, and then won't you stay? Swings the only way I hold. You caught me leaning toward darkness. Sweet, let's lead our honey slow as the branches bent to ground with. I know how the wilds must sound. I know how a wild, wild. Thanks. I'll play another kind of newish one. This one I call Getting Back the Middle. Trains, planes, and automobiles. And it's not about the movie. It has nothing to do with the movie. Nothing. On the railroad comes a they thought it'd be paved gold, and everyone gets what they need. How about these armaments that cut through this world, make a picture show of the in-between? From one righteous platform to the next, can't disbelieve this urgency. It's a great tall engine with little small engineer, took what was in the middle away. I can't get the tick out of my time bomb, alright. Let the tick of my time bomb stand me upright. Beauty I see don't have to be all mine. In fact, I can see it me somewhere. I got mine. Explosions and missile potions making new air. Well, I hope to never let those poisons take away my care. And tap dance feet to get heavy. There's notes of salmon in a table grain. 1 minute's a feast, the next minute being counted like rings on a tree. Well, something cut that way, crosswise, might be exhibiting warning sign. First place you want to troubleshoot is, are you digesting what was or not? What that breaking down is feeding, is it something inside or something out? If it's feeding something out, your airplane might never come down. Oh, please don't get it over with, don't give this dance a name. Inside time's engine, what kind of sound would you be? Remember, I never said nothing about no ups and downs. Possum dance about the upturned symmetry. Sing along with me. Feet and hands in the air, eating fruit right out of the ground. What kind of airplanes kind of do that? Playing dead alright, caught a jelly in the knees. One half talking dirt, the other singing, please, please, oh, please. On black asphalt in some plush tin can, the nights these days got no chivalry. I finally got my vehicle happy by quitting the running, not looking game. And my self-moving moves with mirrors to relation from self-relating. By the same measured scene I offer myself, I want you solid as you can be. Sovereignty is in the rocks and it's in the trees. Kinda like a pawn when it turns into a queen. Well, everybody dance into their secrets. Some knows about some of it. I know I'll never be fixed, but I'm willing to maintain. Cleaning the dust out of the corners, or at least making it dance again. Well, I can't step into my own shoes without coming a part of the seams. Thanks, y'all. I brought this thing here, so I'm going to play one song on it and call it a night. I'm not going to touch that. Do this. This one? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where's your guitar? Let's see here. What's this instrument? That's called a harmonium. Yeah. Say what? Hi to everyone on chat. I tried to get some names to call out. I thought maybe, but you might not have chatted. You might not have chatted. And that's okay. This is it's called The Sweetness of the Ground. Talking to a fire, talking to the rain, guide me in this falling into memory. Piece the hills together from the trails you see. The unseen trails are growing, numbered by the day. Howling wolves are men now, bleeding hearts of plant. Vampires more common than the fire ants. Cures for indigestion are filling up the shelves. How about for a snake that's swallowing his tail? Holy is a mountain, holy is a stream. Holy's what keeps on drowning to wake up from the dream. My hands are tied behind me, my head against a wall. My fingers keep on walking through a buttonhole. Telling as a flower, sheepish as a tent, with someone inside it who never learned to camp. I want to give you money for you to give our child, that he will get to know and that he is worthwhile. And let him know his parents wished for perfect love, but they never found it, so they just passed it down. That cookie that crumbles, what you never hear. The tinier the pieces, the deeper that they bear. Write your heart a letter to be sure it knows you haven't any family left. From your heart it grows. Putting up a tent pole means that you belong, and we'll fill out the insides with our inside songs. And once we know we're worthwhile, we can all slow down. Then we'll start to taste the sweetness of the ground. Thanks, y'all. Thanks. That was fun.
it just stays there frozen in time, not knowing that it could come back to life. Some of the cogs on the wheel got broken, torn up inside, the machine can't be opened. It just stays there frozen in time, not knowing that it could come back to life. So many pieces and knows where to start. You wouldn't notice, just look at it closely. Something's destroyed, but something you won't see. Something is torn out, fell apart. So many pieces and knows where to start. You wouldn't notice, just look at it closely. If something destroyed, it's something you won't. Missing one small piece. The gears are all twisted when the metal is bent. The wheels are broken. I ask myself if I should have spoken. Something is torn out, something is missing. One small piece. The gears are all twisted and the metal is bent. The wheels are all broken. Ask myself if I should have spoken.
This is Ann Padilla from the Boise Hive. During coronavirus times, we want you to know at the Boise Hive that we are here for you. This has been a long 2 months for a lot of folks. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and a lot of people are isolated, And, you know, if you have had trauma in the past, this pandemic is going to probably accentuate some of that trauma. We want you to know that we're here to help you. You may not know during these times that if you happen to sign up for the Medicaid Affordable Care Act that had open enrollment in November and December of 2018 and 2019, you are eligible for mental health services. We at the Hive would like to get those people who don't know that they have this to counseling if they so desire. One thing that we are taught when working with suicidal people or people that we think may be suicidal is to listen. Listen and observe the person that you are interested in or concerned about. The other thing is to ask hard questions. It's really true that people do not feel safe or comfortable asking the hard question of, are you suicidal? I think most of us are unsure about that because we don't know what we would do when somebody says yes. One thing you can do is you can call the Idaho Suicide.
Welcome back to Live at the Hive, and we're ready for some interview questions with Tim and Andrea. Did I say it right that time?
No, but I kind of
Tell me how to say it right.
I like Andrea too. You know, like it's sort of like an alter ego. It's become like that a little bit. So.
See, I have this terrible habit when I.
It sounds a little more like. I think it sounds a little more like fancy or something. Andrea, you know, it's like instead of Andrea, but Andrea is the way that my parents pronounce it. Yeah, yeah.
So I was just curious about who some of your biggest influences as a musician are. I could hear some things that sound familiar to me, but I'm curious for you.
Yeah. It's changed over time, for sure. Nowadays, I listen to a lot of world music, like old world music, from kind of all over. But earlier, I mean, old blues I got really into, and it was kind of a revelation for me in high school, I guess. And then, you know, there's just singers who I find so inspiring, like Nina Simone. But I mean, when I was in high school and then through college, like when I discovered Robert Johnson's, you know, recordings, that was kind of blew me away. Another one more recently is Blind Lemon Jefferson. But yeah, you know, there's all kinds of folk people I love too. But
I really enjoyed listening to you. It was a deeply grounding experience. I could look around the room multiple times and saw people sitting cross-legged, eyes closed, just kind of vibing with what you were doing. So the folk and the storytelling aspect of what you do, just very deeply grounding. I enjoyed it a lot. If you could have your fans remember just one thing about you, what would it be? Would it be the spaghetti song? What would it be?
I don't know how to answer that question. I don't care about being remembered that much. Yeah. I just want to try to live well, you know, and live. I was thinking. I had the thought today about. I do have ambivalence about recording, and it's fun. Like, I like recording, but I think I was thinking today about we have such a desire to try to preserve things in our present culture, but I think it speaks to the fact that we don't have a living. The things that really last, I feel like, are living, and can't be captured. Yeah. So.
I appreciate that. It kind of makes me think of when people talk about magic, and if you've heard of that, and like the power of your word actually making those word waves. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. You sing often about time, about life cycles, about death. How do you think our young generations can be getting the most out of their time?
Young generations getting the most out of their time. Oh my gosh, it's such a big question. It probably depends on the person. I mean, getting back in touch with real, with the ground. Yeah, with like food, how it's grown. I think there's so much that's pulling kids away from the people in front of them and the things in front of them, the rooms that are right there around people. And so there's such a pull towards like disassociation. And it's sort of, so I think that a movement in the opposite direction towards what's present and palpable would be a start.
I think that's great. I wanted to also kind of talk about when you started us off, you were like, you know, this is kind of a harder song, but these are hard times. And you sang that first one for us about the horse. What advice would you have for those people that feel swept up in the crisis mindset of today's world events when you sang about uncertainty dragging us around?
I mean, we all get dragged around by uncertainty. You know, there's no escaping uncertainty. And so not necessarily trying to get away from the uncertainty, I would say. We're all it's something we're all going to feel. And yeah, being like trying to grow tolerance, you know, for the uncertainty that's there. Advice for, yeah, the tough times. I mean, war. Things are gonna keep getting. I don't think they're gonna get just like suddenly smooth. So I can't remember if there's something else about your. Yeah.
Just about, you know, being swept up in that crisis mindset. Everything's delivered to us in such a crisis.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's true. Yeah, the responding from a place of urgency is, I think it never goes well on any level. If you're an individual, it doesn't go well. If you're a nation, it doesn't go well. You know, we create huge amounts of pollution trying to, in this like urgent mindset. And so the things that we do in urgency have long-lasting negative impact often, I think almost always. And so to be able to identify when one is possessed in a state of urgency is a start. Like, I think that's, if you can just be like, oh, I'm kind of possessed by urgency right now, and to be like, okay, when you're possessed by it, it has you. If you can notice it, then you can have it. And so just that shift is significant, I'd say. Yeah.
I appreciate that, and kind of leading into exactly that. What ways do you feel that you've kept yourself mentally healthy over this last couple years? Like, when you feel that urgency come and you want to get back to a place of where you're grounded, and in the kind of ways that you're sharing that music, the feeling that you're sharing with the people around you. When we're not here listening to your music, how would you suggest people kind of ground themselves in those moments?
You're asking me all these questions as if I mean, no, as if I have all the answers or I have something to say. But I mean, yeah, no, it's sure. I mean, I have a lot of opinions. Yeah. So I guess in terms of, I mean, I think being willing to go to the last place you want to go, feel the thing that's the last. Usually when one is possessed by urgency, or when I'm possessed by urgency, I notice, the first thing is to notice that I'm possessed by urgency, and the second thing is to realize, like, okay, it's not about the urgency, there's something else that's happening that I don't want to feel or notice inside me. So if I so then there's this willingness. It's sort of like, okay, am I going to just be with what is the thing that I don't want to be with? So that's, sometimes one is up to it, and sometimes one, it's just like, no, I go have some chips and blah, 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 whatever.
There was some lyrics that you said that touched on that. Can't step into my shoes without coming apart at the seams. What would you say you felt? What's the difference between what you felt then when you were writing that versus where you're at now?
I guess that line maybe has more to do with just the messiness of being embodied and being a person in the world, and it's just like, we want everything, we see everything out there that's desirable as being in a neat package, and including relationships. Like, we box up the idea of a happily ever after relationship and put it in a neat package, and nothing really that's alive and real is in a neat package. It's only if it's dead. So, yeah.
What experience have you had in regards to mental health and suicide, that being a big part of our mission here at the Hive?
What experience do I have in terms of in mental health? I work in mental health, in the mental health field, so work as a mental health counselor. I'm a therapist, and but I don't know if one can be alive in the world. Anyone I know who's a therapist is a therapist because they've struggled with mental health issues. So, yeah, I think mental health, it's a framework that I don't know. I think most of the ways we frame things don't really address the problems. Most of the way we frame things become part of the problems. We frame things from the problem, and then it is part. The way we frame it becomes part of the problem and has no. You can get no traction from that place. And I feel like there's something about mental health. I don't even know what that means. I mean, that's like that, I guess, in terms of framing. I don't know that I have right at this moment like a better way to put it or to get into it. It would be sort of, we might be talking for a while, but there's something about the framework of mental health struggles. Somebody told me once that the word patient comes from the word, just means originally to suffer. And so, something like that we're all sufferers of reality is kind of I like that. It kind of feels like it just true in some way.
I like that too, the way that you have to sit in it sometimes, right? And just be patient. I've got one more for you that I would like to ask. I saw that you were trying to join people in that were on the chat and watching from afar. Well, what would you say about the importance of inclusion, especially today?
Oh my God! I mean, that's a really big. Which way to find my way into that one? Let's see. I mean, inclusion is on everybody's mind. It's inclusion and equality is on everyone's mind. I guess I've recently been reading a book, and I wish I could remember the authors' names right now. There's two authors, but the book's called The Dawn of Everything, and they talk about the way again, another framework thing. They talk about the way that we frame the problem in terms of equality, and like, why can't everybody be equal, or why is everyone not equal? And going back through history, like, when did this inequality like first arise? And they were kind of seeing the way that there's kind of nowhere to go with that. It's sort of, and they were suggesting some other questions like, why do we have to use wealth? Just the statement that we use wealth to create power over others. And so that seems more like it opens up possibilities to me, thinking about the way we use wealth to create power. Yeah, and I think it comes from insecurity. You know, that so many of us we're all lost in a way. We don't have a culture that's intact. We all came from somewhere whose culture has been like decimated, and so we come in. There's this whole power and superiority and inferiority is just this like big it's something that's kind of big in us, and something that I think to get somewhere we have to start metabolizing that.
Well, I noticed you had a really big pull with it, with the way that you were incorporating others, but also just the way that people were gathered around you here. And so thank you again for sharing your music and your opinions with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.